This is breaking down the Calvin's facts with Calvin's dad, Jimmy Dawson, on Year FM Radio Network. So, we're playing it because apparently just reached 1 billion streams on Spotify. Um, There's a huge milestone there for Katy Perry as well, and that song too. Um, anyway, it's gonna be a short one tonight because we don't have a lot of topics to get to. But let's start now. Why does it take forever for hot water to reach the shower? Every morning I turn on the shower and wait like 2 minutes before the water is hot. It's the same with the sink. Honestly, those 2 minutes aren't the worst though. I usually just check my phone or play some slots on Grizzly's Quest while I'm waiting. Where is the water? Waiting in those 2 minutes. Why can't it just be hot right away? Want to lead in your impact? Join our AMA to find out how investors are fueling innovation. Learn more at globalx.rv. The water in the hot water heater is hot. The water in the pipes between the hot water heater and your shower have cooled down since the last time you used it. It takes time for the hot water to push all that cold water out. 15 feet of 3/4 inch pipe has about a gallon of room temperature water that has to flow out. Most people also don't turn the valve to full hot, which means the water is moving relatively slowly. A way to get the hot water to the shower fast: turn the valve all the way hot, wait for it to warm up, and then turn it to your preferred setting. Plus, the pipe itself has to get up to the temperature of the hot water before you get the full temp to the shower, and the shower is often one of the first things from the water heater. Water heater in basement, shower on the second floor near bedrooms. Full hot out of a bath faucet, then set to your normal temp and turn on the shower. Yet a bath faucet has a higher flow rate. I'm keenly aware because I live in a row house with 5 units with one massive water heater, located literally at the opposite end of my unit. Oh yeah. It's always SC when you have to go, then you gotta deal with that. It depends on your plumbing. A lot of newer construction has a manifold, normally near the water heater, that has the line running to each faucet individually. So in that case, in order to clear the line out, you'd have to run the shower. Older houses used to run one hot line to the bathroom and then branch off that line for each faucet. In that situation, you could run the bathroom faucet hot, and that would clear out the majority of the hot line for the shower too. Yeah, but even if they run separate hotlines to each faucet, generally the bath/shower are going to share the run if they're in the same room. If it's a bathtub/shower combo, which is by far the most common setup, it wouldn't even be possible to have separate lines as they're sharing a mixing value. Wow, lots of cool stuff there, Calvin. If you wanna, next time you're doing your bath, I think he's in the bath right now, but all right, Calvin. All right, you're good there. All right. Why is our solar system organized the way it is? Like we have sun, all terrestrial planets, the asteroid belt, all gaseous giants, an asteroid belt again. And then, like, the gas giants are organized in descending order. Like, is there a physics explanation, or is it just weird serendipity? Want to learn your impact? Join our AMA to find out how investors are fueling innovation. Learn more at go.globalx.rv. When the solar system formed, it was a lot hotter. Only materials that could withstand the intense heat were able to form within the first asteroid belt. Beyond the first belt, it was cool enough that gases could gather without being obliterated by the sun. As the sun has cooled down over a bazillion years, gases have been able to exist closer to the sun, which is why we can have an atmosphere that isn't actively ripped away by the sun. Yes, the sun does take some of our lighter gases with it, but that's beyond the scoop of a breaking down Calvin's facts. Breaking down Calvin's facts. We don't break that stuff down because it's boring, you know. Most solar systems we have found the gas giants are a lot closer to the sun. This is a measurement bias. There are two main ways we detect exoplanets. The first is when light reaching us from another star dims because the planet passes between its star and us. This favors larger planets because it blocks more light and is easier to detect. The second way is when a star seems to wobble its position due to the gravity of the planet pulling its star very slightly to one side or another of its orbits. This favors heavier planets as the difference in position is larger and easier to detect. Both methods also favor planets closer to their stars, as we have to observe the differences over multiple orbits before we can reasonably say we know there's a planet there. Closer planets orbit their stars faster, and we have telescopes capable of making the measurements for a dozen or so years. All that means it is way easier to detect larger, heavier planets that are closer to their stars than smaller planets further away. And thus, most of the exoplanets we found so far are larger and heavy ones closer to their star. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, let's go to this next one here. How does my phone know where I am even without GPS turned on? So maybe the only answer I know is the IP address. Sometimes my phone shows my location on apps like Maps or Weather, even when I've got GPS off. How is it figuring out where I am? Want to learn your impact? Join our AMA to find out how investors are fueling innovation. Learn more at go.globalx.rv. Triangulating between three nearest cell towers if not on Wi-Fi. They will also add a bit of refinement with SSIDs of visible Wi-Fi networks. Yep, Google Maps carved, they not just take the pictures, distributed geolocated sampling of SSIDs. Yes, they do that apparently. I mean, in theory, they could sample SSIDs using their customers' phones, Android users mostly. They don't need Google Maps cards for that. They do. So does Apple. Sammy Kamakar showed it off like 15 years ago at DEF CON, and Black Hat used to be able to get the geolocation from Google before they patched it. Good point. They have their own mesh network detection and upload capability. Just like those EVs that some governments wanted to be banned. Where did I put my tinfoil hat? You realize every iPhone and Android phone does the same thing, right? Basically, every SSID on the planet is mapped to a geolocation by Apple and Google. Sammy Comaxer showed it off at DEF CON back like 15 years ago. You used to be able to actually get the locations from Google before we patched it. Technically, more often than not, triangulation instead of triangulation. Triangulation measures distances and times between the towers. Triangulation locates measuring angles. I think that's enough of that. How does my wireless phone charger work? How can the energy, which is via electricity, travel through empty air without any wires? I can understand the cable carrying electricity, but my new phone charger is just a pad. I put my phone on it and it magically gets power. There's nothing connecting them. It feels like actual wizardy. How does the energy jump from the pad into my phone? What is actually happening in that tiny space between them? Want to learn your impact? Join our AMA to find out how investors are fueling innovation. Learn more at go.globalx.rv. Electricity itself doesn't travel between the charger and the phone. It's a process called induction charging. Your charging pad and your phone both have a set of metal coils inside of them. As electricity flows through a transmitting coil on the charging pad, it creates a magnetic field. This magnetic field excites the coil in the receiving device, for example, your phone, which in turn creates an electric current in that coil, which is collected to charge the device. So, electrical energy is converted to magnetic energy, which bridges the gap. Then, that magnetic energy is converted back to electrical energy to charge the device. However, this process is not entirely efficient, and some energy is also converted to heat, which is why your device can get warm when charging wirelessly. And is also why wireless charging isn't as fast as wired charging. It's also the same principle as induction stove. Here, we use the moving current specifically to create heat. The induction of the current in this case is faster than just heating the electric stove, which heats the air between the pan/pot stove and then the pan/pot. What's this? Oh my god. Oh my god. Alright. Let's just do, maybe we can go to one more question. Let's see here. We didn't go for them, but alright. This is just a new question that just came in. How does the new AirPods pause media when falling asleep feature work? Just curious on how it works. I got iOS 26 and its new feature that surprised me. Wanna learn your impact? Join our AMA to find out how investors are fueling innovation. Learn more at go.globalx.rv. Alright. Let's see here. Let's see what I got here. Okay. Let's talk about how Ozempic works. Is it that they just suppress appetite, or do they help in another way to lose weight? Say someone who is not on Ozempic, A, makes sure to eat the exact same amount as someone who is taking it, B, would achieve the same results had A been taking the jab. Want to learn your impact? Join our AMA to find out how investors are fueling innovation. Learn more at go.globalx.rv. A lot of good answers so far, but a lot of people are ignoring your specific question about comparing two people with the same caloric intake. From what I've researched and understand, more or less, they'd look the same if they are at the same thing of one person using Ozempic to curb the appetite. It's just that for someone who's used to eating a lot more, having to eat that low caloric intake is suddenly unbearable. Like constant anger, pain in the stomach, levels of hunger. It takes so much willpower to go from eating 3,000 plus calories a day to less than 12,000 calories a day. Ozempic makes it almost effortless. You can eat a third of your normal helpings each meal and to be totally fine all day. The reporting of Ozempic face and stuff is because the person drops weight so fast that you notice it more versus dropping that weight over the course of a year. Someone lost weight from caloric restriction from sheer willpower. They get that drastic face change too, but they're gonna be in agony while doing it because it's such a major diet change. Anyway, that's the end of the show. See you